Hi, I'm Erik Linask. Welcome to this edition of the TMC Newsroom on the Road. We're here in Dallas, Texas, and I'm chatting now with G-Tek's Andrew Blakely. Excuse me. Sorry about that, Andrew. Thanks for joining me.
No problem. Thank you, Erik.
So you guys predominantly OEM equipment for a variety of people out there. Talk to me about the latest things that you've been looking at and what you've been seeing.
Yeah, G-Tek has primarily three different business models. OEM, where we build under someone else's design. Mm-hmm. We do JDM, Joint Development Manufacturing, where we take our design, customize it for the customers, and let them bring it to market under their program. And then ODM, which is our original design, manufacturing, our software, and going to market. We've been very successful with Wi-Fi handsets. We've been very successful actually with SIP-based telephones. They're agnostic SIP telephones. Working out there pretty much on anything SIP 2.0 compatible, which is pretty much just about every SIP system in the market today. However, we did take a couple of these enterprise phones and get them approved through, prior to the Avaya purchase of Nortel. We had them approved through the Nortel Developer Partner Program on a few of their networks, as well as Avaya through the DevConnect. Those phones right now going to market for enterprise fit real well with the transition. As someone has a Nortel today, transitioning to the Avaya Aura tomorrow, your SIP phones, your phones on a desktop period, can be 40% or more of your investment. And this, therefore, even the Nortel network users can enjoy deploying SIP phones today and maintain that investment when tomorrow they deploy the Avaya Aura system. So it does help customers, especially in this economy, to maintain their investment. So enterprise-wise, we have a very solid product line available for roughly 30% of the enterprise market space. So that part is very well. New things, as you asked me about, we do have new product coming out that we're very proud of. It's in a field trial process right now, should be released by the end of second quarter. It's a gateway phone. And what the gateway phone is, it not only has a gateway in it, it talks upstream IP, SIP, to a service provider, an enterprise network, a hosted solution, or even those simultaneously with multiple SIP registrations that are available to be configured. What's better, it has a PSTN port on it, Loop Start FXO port, and I can connect back out to the network. So if I lose my last mile internet connectivity, my remote office still has connectivity to talk to the network. I can still place and receive calls. And then a third interface on it is a GSM radio built in. Install a SIM card in there, and you have it as a GSM phone. You can use it in places where you don't have landline services, construction yards, oil rigs, different areas like that, remote mobile type office applications, U.S. Coast Guard setting up for disasters to deploy a phone system literally within a few minutes to deploy with it. So the gateway phone we're looking at is going to be, I believe, one of the next big sellers that's available on the market. I don't need a server. I don't need anything on the network. All I need is to be able to plug into any type of services, or even don't plug into any services and use GSM trunk only. And internally into it, we built in a proxy server for 16 users that can register behind it. So I can take a small office today, hook up with a service provider for some SIP trunks, install this phone on one desk, and I can put up to 16 more phones behind that one gateway phone in the office, and I have a phone system. No server, nothing else required. Complete functionality, busy lamp appearances, and so forth, all your complete legacy telephony functionality.
What about management of the system in that case?
Management of it can be done simply from a telephone. It can be HTML to manage in, HTTP as well, to remote into the system and pre-configure anything. If you add a phone, I want to add another SIP account, I simply remote into it, add the credentials for the SIP account, plug the telephone in, and configure it, and you're done. Very simple. Now, these phones also support mass provisioning. So if I have a big Avaya Aura core within my enterprise, through the Avaya Aura, I can maintain configuration files, so no matter where I plug this telephone in on the network, it will automatically grab and reach its own configuration file. So once that file is placed there, no more. Anywhere I plug it in on the network, it'll come up with its same credentials and class of service.
Very neat. Look forward to that coming out. Generally speaking, with this one and with your existing phones, how do you go out to market with them?
Well, G-Tek, you probably hadn't, very few people have heard of G-Tek. We are, again, we develop and manufacture, but we do not brand the products. So what we do is we select partners to get the products out to market. We've done it for some very big household names. We still do today for some very big household names where a lot of people are unaware that it's manufactured in our factory in Penang, Malaysia. Penang, Malaysia actually is one of the leading technological countries for manufacturing in the world. They've won a very high prestigious awards the last 2 years. In doing so, we select partners, and those partners will put their name and brand the phone. They will go to market, they will do all the documentation, all the collaterals, pre-sale support and any engineering services, post-sale support and engineering, and even the fulfillment. In doing that, that's a lot for one company. So we've typically in the past had been in with multiple companies. Recently, we partnered up with Source here in Dallas, and Source actually provided the fulfillment services for many years. They also are an Avaya Platinum partner, so they have the VAR experience as well. So they were an ideal partner for this because if a reseller or an integrator wants to purchase the product, Source is there for fulfillment, and that integrator can do the deployment on their own and work with the customer one-on-one. If a different type customer wants to call in and wants it pre-configured so it is shipped out to market, plug and play, Source can do that as well. If the products need to be shipped out and Source needs to centrally manage it from one location, they can do that as well. So by partnering up with Source, we actually made it ideal with one partner to bring the products to go to market.
So we talk about the your integration with Nortel and Avaya, and now going forward, the Avaya Aura platform. Why wouldn't users simply go with an Avaya phone?
Well, in some of the differences, a lot of the Avaya, first is still the H323, which is older technology. They do have now SIP loads for some of the newer technologies for the Avaya phones, but Avaya today is set to work only on the Avaya network. If it's a greenfield Avaya deployment, very good question, look at functionality. Do I need busy lamp appearance? What type of desktop user is it? Is it a factory out on a pole in the factory? They may not want to pay a $200-300 telephone. You have a cost-effective enterprise SIP phone. If it's in a call center for a manager or supervisor to monitor their agents, not on a PC, to monitor on a phone, they have the capability to do that here on these phones. Okay, so it really looking at what the user's needs is at the desktop, what the user's needs are at the desktop, then step back and what would be the most productive tool to deploy for that type of user. That's pretty much a way to look at it. However, with the Avaya and with all the Nortel out there and everything merging to the Avaya Aura, we can help customers, both from the VAR standpoint and the end users, to maintain an investment. For example, one of the most prevalent phones in the marketplace is the Nortel M2616, used right here at this location where we're talking. That has a 16-button telephone. Keys are used for program, transfer, hold, conference, hands-free, etc., call park. All of those take up out of those 16 keys. All those functions that I just mentioned right there are standard on our telephone device with 16 keys still left over for busy lamp appearance or any personal speed dial or anything the user needs. So that also goes back into the type of device the user came out of and the type of the device they're going into. Because changing from one functionality on a phone system in an enterprise to a complete different transferring and switching type functionality is very difficult. It's a difficult learning curve. And by doing this, we can actually remove legacy digital telephones and replace with SIP phones today, priming those customers for this Avaya merge when they're financially able to do so.
How much? One of the other vertical markets that you do a lot of business in is the hospitality industry. Tell me a little more about that.
Sure. We've been manufacturing for one of our partners hospitality phone for many years, almost 20 years, made out of our factory in Penang, Malaysia. They would order phones for us to be shipped to Australia. We would do the manufacturing, the color that they wanted, put the face lid on it, custom for the property, and ship. Next day we may get 900 phones for a property in Denver, Colorado. We would do the same thing there. So in the hospitality, there's a lot of customization for every individual property. We're very experienced at doing that. Most factories want to turn out 50, 100,000 pieces at a time. This is a very small count, custom manufacturing build, and we were able to do that for years. Now, one of our partners is no longer in business in the hospitality, so what we did is we took our expertise from design, and we actually have 4 models of SIP hospitality phones that are approved, again, through the DevConnect program through vaya here and out to market. One of the first ones that we're doing right now is in Singapore for a very large property, 5,700 phones going into the property. And in this, it's on a Nortel CS1000 is their backbone right now until they get, to become the Avaya Aura. But on the CS1000 going in these hotels, what happens is when you have 3 phones in a room, in a hotel room, for example, you need 3 SIP registrations back to the server. Okay. New functionality has been released, bridge line appearance, and with that bridge line appearance, it allows one user to be off hook on the phone at one time talking to someone, while I can walk over to a second phone and go off hook and make a second call over that same SIP account. So it reduces licensing, it reduces overhead within the system itself. So it's very innovative. It's the first deployment here, and it's all going through with Nortel and their development teams, and the actual installation is occurring right now.
When you talk about different hospitality installations requiring different types of customization, what are some of the ways you customize the phones for different customers?
Now that's good. For example, if you take a trim line type set that may be a typical bathroom phone, okay, you don't need a lot of speed dial keys in a bathroom phone, but someone does need it, particularly in this day for E911, in a hotel and so forth. So with the bathroom phone installed, you may have a volume key up and down. You may want to take that same model phone and put it out by the pool side. Okay, and out by the pool downstairs, you may have some speed dial, one key to the bar to get you another nice refreshment. You may have another key up to the front desk to set your reservation for the restaurant at the property for that evening. So they may have some more speed dial keys. We can actually do that in our manufacturing process in the same tool, same bottom plate, and it's just a different top plate and how many buttons that the property needs. So a property can customize from 0 buttons to 2 buttons to 5 buttons to 10 buttons. Whatever they need on their telephone, it's all there and ready for them, so the users now, or the buyers, can pick and choose what they need, even their color.
And what about the wireless devices?
Well, in the wireless devices for the DECT, we're doing the DECT right now, and that's a phase 2 on this deployment. And our DECT will actually support up to 6 DECT phones per unit. And the way it works, the bedside phone actually has the DECT radio built in. And most solutions will support up to 3 different handsets, and we will support actually up to 6 with the different DECT radio. And we're going to set them so they can sync and even remote and move from a phone to a different phone as its master-slave type configuration. So DECT is available with that as well. We also do Wi-Fi handsets if the property wants to give away handsets for people to use. Like when you rent a car, sometimes you can pick up different phone services or different items. Here in the properties, you can also use the Wi-Fi for that as well. If I have Wi-Fi throughout my property, I can take my room phone and sit out by the pool. I can go to my partner's room. I can go back to my room, work anywhere within the property there. And even when I'm off premise, I can still register back to that property as if I was sitting in my hotel room.
How big is the potential for you in the hospitality market?
The hospitality market itself actually over the last few years has decreased in this economy as far as new builds, but the new builds, pretty much what we're seeing are going SIP, moving them in with SIP, and we sit very well with these new properties based on what they need in the market and the recent exit of one of our partners in the market who is no longer around. And because of that, it's opened up a little bit of door and some opportunity. And now that people are finding out that it's available, very interested. Property management companies are starting to come in and ask a lot of very good questions.
Good. Well, glad to hear that. Good luck. I certainly look forward to hearing more about the gateway phone that you've got coming out.
You'll see more about that in the future, and so will everyone else.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us for this edition of TMC Newsroom on the Road. I've been talking with G-Tech's Andrew Blakely. Andrew, thank you.
Thank you, Erik.